Wolverine, my friend, I need you in my life. And it doesn't look like we're gonna be getting any big updates anytime soon for Wolverine. And that's because I'm looking over here at Insomniac's Twitter, Insomniac Games, their official Twitter account, where they posted, it was just like saying, hey, we got a new update coming for Marvel's Spider-Man 2 coming to PC, and then yada, yada, yada. And an account replied to him and said, nothing for PS5, no news about Wolverine, ignoring everyone, such a great team, which we'll get
Damn.
into that in a second. But
Major
um,
bait there.
so Insomniac replied back to him and said, we're actively working on Marvel's Wolverine for PS5. We'll share news about the game when we, and they emphasized we, are ready to share it. That will always be our answer. We can't act on everything requested when things take time, resources, and the green light to share them. All right. So I want to say out the gate, you know, the whole thing, no news about Wolverine, ignoring everyone, such a great team. Like, yeah, that is definitely some bait. You're throwing that out there hoping for a response, and you got a response. And I also can understand Insomniac hitting back with some like,
Mm,
kind of chill the fuck out energy.
yep.
However, if you leave out the part where it says such a great team and all that, I do kind of agree with the sentiment. Wolverine was revealed in 2021. It's 2025, man. Like, I'm not saying that, as fans, we can just sit there and demand things to be shown when they're not ready to be shown. I get that. But it's like,
Yeah.
it's been a long fucking time. And I think that having a response in your Twitter feed or in your reply section where someone's like, hey, where's Wolverine? I think you should probably be expecting that.
Expecting it, yes, but I'm gonna kind of play the devil's advocate, as I always do. It's always fun to argue the other side. We're
Absolutely.
we're going at this with a mentality of like how games were announced previously, like 10 years ago, and the way that that was announced, and then the turnover rate was fairly quick. There were very few games that, when they would go into like 5, 6 years, 7 year development cycles, they were considered in development hell back then. That's becoming more normal development cycles and not in development hell now. So when did you say that got announced? 2020?
2021.
2021. So it's been 4 years. So back on the PS4 generation, yeah, that's like, dude, that's coming out now, right? It's in like the final few months, maybe the early of next year release window is what you would imagine if he was in like the shoes. We don't really see, look at, like, you have Bethesda over there with the Elder Scrolls 6. They've gone 2 generations of consoles and it's still not here. Like, you have a bunch of other teams that are struggling to get them out efficiently. So I can understand the annoyance and stuff, but this is why I had, I can't remember what video it was that we did it. It's why I had the sentiment of announce it, release it within the year. Like, just keep things under wraps. Like, if they get leaked, they get leaked. You can't help that, but don't announce something 4 years ahead of time. Like, when you know it's just being, it just doesn't make sense in this day and age, because you have this. You have every single day. There isn't downtime in gaming anyway. There's always going to be somebody that will pick apart a thread like that, because social media is so prevalent in the way that games and media is handled now. So every single time they're going to make a tweet, they're going to get 10 of them. And to the person who's having to deal with that on the Insomniac end, that's infuriating. That's so annoying to deal with that. But at the same time, it's the
Totally.
bed that you've made for yourself. You know that it wasn't ready. All you've shown is that trailer of him sitting at a bar and doing that. That is
Yeah.
it. That's all. So you're talking about fans and respecting their time and stuff like that. That's all you've given them in a 4 year window. Of course, they're going to be angry.
I do think that to your point from earlier about the marketing window being longer, I think we're getting to the point where they're shortening it up. Like, see Astrobot revealed and launched in the same year. You see Ghost of Tsushima or Ghost of Yotai revealed late last year, supposed to come out sometime this year. Like they're shortening up those windows. I think that Wolverine was caught in that weird period where it was still like, God of War Ragnarok, uh, I think God of War Ragnarok was announced in 2019, 2020, and then launched in 2022. And then with Wolverine, it was like right before we got into the period of marketing windows shortening up a good bit. So I think that there is some damage done there. And also I think there is that perception damage done where it it's a game that kind of feels like it should be in line with your Ghost of Yotai, Spider-Man 2, games of that ilk that were announced and launched much quicker, because it was launched alongside them, or it was announced alongside them. So, and also, of course, the leaks are. I can't imagine that the leaks didn't set back development a great degree for that game. Like, I mean, a lot of that shit was leaked, and I'm not saying they're going in and changing and reiterating and tweaking everything, but I would imagine even if it's on a subconscious level, that the morale was just tanked after that game got leaked. And I would imagine that some level of productivity probably took a hit when your morale is that low. So I can understand that, but I also do understand, like I don't understand, being an asshole,
No,
but I do understand being like, yo, what the fuck is going on?
just because it's
And,
appearances that you have to upkeep. You know, you're talking about Sony's output, and it was absolutely stellar, and now it's starting to slip a little bit. Um, and like you said, it is in that transitionary period, but it's industry wide. It's the thing of me when I was sitting there and being like, when they first announced Perfect Dark or 007 and stuff, because Xbox does this much worse than PlayStation. I happily put my hands up and be like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why are you announcing these years and years? Like, Fable was announced years prior than it should have been and stuff like that. I know you want to create anticipation, but I think what they don't understand is that anticipation is very short lived for most games. Not everybody feels the way they do about a Silk song, where that anticipation hasn't gone anywhere. That's burning so bright constantly. But it's a rarity. It's not like that for Fable. It wasn't like that for Hellblade 2 and stuff like that, really. There wasn't like people genuinely being like, I'm pumped to play this. It's just like, oh, it got delayed again. Oh, we're hearing it. Oh, it's not being released this year. It's just, and then people lose interest.
well, and to your point, it's like I worry about that with Intergalactic, where that's a game that is a brand new IP. If we're being honest, probably got revealed too early
Mm-hmm.
and is probably going to take quite a while to come out the door. And I think that there is a situation where it's a Hellblade 2 effect or whatever you want to call it, where there isn't that level of desire for it because we don't even with Hellblade 2 at least you kind of know what to expect, but with this we have no idea. And maybe once they show gameplay there will be that desire where it's like, oh damn, this looks fucking amazing, yada yada, yada. But it's a new IP, so it inherently doesn't have that level of attachment, that level of connection that a sequel or like a Hollow Knight Silk Song or that whatever example, a known IP. So I worry about that with that. But to your point, the output for PlayStation is just not great right now from a first party standpoint, where I think the only games that we know of that are in development for this current generation, and I don't even know if I'd say Intergalactic is a like a PS5 game. It might launch PS6, and then be cross-gen, but I don't know if that's necessarily a PS5 video game. Um, and like I could see it launching 2028 and also being available on PS5. But to the games that we know about is like Soros from Housemark, and then obviously Wolverine, which I do think Wolverine will come out this gen. Yotai, which should come out this year, and then Horizon multiplayer, fair games. Like it's not a lot, and I'm sure there's some I'm leaving off, but it's just not a lot that spring to the top of your mind. So um, yeah, it they're in an interesting spot where they're living off of so much goodwill from the PlayStation 4, where that was just one of the greatest generations for any console manufacturer ever in terms of output, in terms of high quality exclusive content. And they do still have great exclusives. They're doing a great job on the third party front, but it is like, man, I people are yearning for those first party heavy hitters, and it's just not coming at the rate that um
We
that
were used
I
to
think a
in
lot of people would
previous
like.
years. Yeah.
You know. So with all of that said, man, is there anything you're wanting from a Wolverine game? I know you're not the biggest X-Men fan in the world, but is there anything where you're like, yo, you gotta have X, Y, and Z? For me, it's two really simple things. Give me gore and M rating, a ton of blood, dismemberment, and a motorcycle. And I'm good.
No, that's all it needs to be. It's the kind of thing of where I don't know why we still have this umming and ahhing or cold feet in approaching superheroes and stuff like that with a more mature theme. Like the Dark Knight trilogy showed that it could be done, and then they kind of lifted their foot off the pedal with it and didn't like apply that to everything else, and it was like, oh, that's kind of weird. It's kind of strange. And then Deadpool came out, which they didn't even want to make. It was only because Ryan Reynolds leaked it himself and being like, dude, you don't understand like how much like you have a winning thing on your hand, you don't want to do it because it's got more mature thing. Like, what are you talking about? Well, we don't know if it will fit. It might not sell well, and it shows it sold incredibly well. It did incredibly well, all three movies. And then you have all the stuff like DC seems to do it a lot better, Penguin and stuff like that, and taking more darker themes with Batman and stuff. But yeah, like Marvel, you think back to how much X-Men Origins Wolverine was heralded because it was that mature theme. And it's because they knew that the movie wasn't going to do well. So they basically were just like, just do whatever you want with the game. If the movie did well, they would have held that with an iron grip and probably PG'd it up to try and fit as many people into buying it as possible. And that's kind of my worry is that Insomniac, are they really, is that the same, do they have the same gusto that Raven have in making a Wolverine game on that kind of scale? Like both Spider-Man games aren't really mature, really, in any of their things. It's very, very light-hearted or family friendly, if you're
Yeah,
being completely honest with yourself. So it's like, is Sony willing to sign off on that? I don't know
right.
because
Is Marvel willing to sign
exactly.
off on it?
No, exactly. It's both of them. Are they both willing to take that risk? Because if they're looking at how popular the Spider-Man games are when selling like that while appealing to everybody, they're gonna probably be like, well, why limit that player base and take every kid out of the equation? Because that's how they look at it. It's black and white. If it has an
Yeah.
M rating, then no child can play this because no adult will give this to their child. And it's just like, oh god, okay.
Yeah, dude. I think parents are more worried about making sure their kid doesn't scroll across a beheading video when they're on fucking
it
Twitter or like I don't I we're
took a
we're
took a turn, didn't it?
well, I'm just saying like we're at a point where like it is so damn you just get on Twitter and you're hit with porn and death and violence and like dude, how many kids across the world, you know, whatever what's M rating is, I guess 18 and older. So how many kids 17 and under have Twitters and social medias? Like, and I don't think I don't know. I think there's a level of
Mhm.
desensitization. Is that how you say that?
Desensitization.
Desensitization. Yeah, I think there's a level of desensitization where it. I don't know that M-rated games are the thing that it used to be where parents are like up in arms about M-rated games anymore. Like how many kids play Call of Duty and GTA 5 online and uh I'm
What?
not there's definitely parents who care, but I
Mhm.
just don't think it's in the level of how it used to be. Like
Well,
parents are probably scared.
what was funny as well? It was mainly America that were kind of up in arms with it. The two countries I remember having like really like weird relationships with games was that where you had, was it Jack Thompson leading the charge at
Oh
trying to like burn
yeah.
down Rockstar and stuff and the Peaceholics
Yeah.
debacle. And then you had Michael Atkinson. His name was, he was the Attorney General, I believe, for Australia. And they had just some of the most bizarre, like, we're just not going to rate this. We're not going to rate Saints Row 3 or Saints Row 4 because it has drugs in it, and it's just like, dude, you have like much bigger problems on your plate that you need to be worrying about and being like, oh yeah, we're worried that kids are gonna recreate these things in the game. What, running up a building? Like, are you kidding me? Like, yeah,
Yeah. It's
it's bizarre.
you know what I really want, Loon? Because I was thinking about this a lot. You know, you brought up Spider-Man and the comparisons there that are, obvious because you would think that's probably the template that Insomniac's going to look at for this Wolverine game. But I was thinking, like, I would much rather this be linear and kind of like a Tomb Raider Legend style approach
Yeah.
where you got these cool ass action set pieces and, the old school James Bond games, everything or nothing on the PS2, where like you get to see such cool shit because you're not in one world. You can kind of go wherever, or you can not literally go wherever in an open world sense, but like they can set the game wherever
Well,
in so many different places.
Well, yeah, especially when you think of the X-Men as well. I know it's not X-Men, it is just Wolverine, but like, even because I went back and obviously watched that first film, they have that aircraft thing where it transports them here, there, and It's not. Spider-Man is New York. That's
Yeah.
mainly where his thing. He is the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, so he's very rarely going out anywhere. Wolverine shouldn't be nailed to the fucking floor into one city. Where are you gonna keep him? Like, just have it, like you said, linear. Have it be like, okay, here's this tiny semi open world map segment thing, and then bring it in linear for a few chapters and then open it up a little bit. Like, how is this still just a thing that just gets shut? It's either all, it's all or nothing. Why does it have to be full open world or be branded as, ooh, it's linear?
Right.
Like, come on, man. Like, Gears did this so well. Gears 5, it gave you an open world map
Yeah.
bit and then drew you back into the tight linear shooting. It's the best of both worlds.
Such a good point. Um, you bring up X-Men, which kind of just bummed me out to a whole different level. Like, damn, I didn't even think about that until you just started. Oh God, because they got the exclusive license for X-Men video games. Did you know that? Insomniac is the only developer that can make X-Men games at all. Like not just
Okay.
Wolverine, anything X-Men related. So, oh dude.
Marvel Avengers
So,
2.0 coming right up. Can you imagine?
bro, but what I'm
Uh,
thinking is now that Wolverine has been pushed back, that means their next X-Men game that was supposed to hit in 2030. What are we looking at? Like 2034 for that next X-Men game? And I know they got multiple development teams, but damn, dude, why did they have to lock down X-Men in its entirety and not just Wolverine? Like that's the thing that bums me out. I don't really even care about the Wolverine game as much as I want
I
a
can see
real
it.
X-Men
I
game.
can understand it from a business standpoint. You don't want people, because if it was an X-Men game, they would then obviously be using Wolverine as a thing. So you don't want
Yeah.
that buzz being taken out. It's kind of like why Sony got very petty when it came to Marvel Avengers and be like, yeah, you can't use Spider-Man on Xbox and everywhere else because they want to be the only place you can play Spider-Man is here. And it's just like, okay, sure thing, buddy. So that's what I envision as to why they tied down the entire X-Men license. They don't want any other competing Wolverine game title, anything that could steal its smoke.
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. But yeah, it is a bummer that fucking X-Men fans on PC, Xbox, Switch 2, whatever. It's like, damn, man, that's another one that'll be locked down exclusive. It'll come to PC eventually, but it's like, fucking shit. You already got Spider-Man, and now you're gonna have Wolverine and the entire X-Men lineup that's exclusive to PlayStation, which I know different people have different opinions about exclusives. I do understand exclusivity. Like you gotta have it if you want to sell your console and then get people to buy Fortnite skins and fucking all of that shit in your ecosystem. I totally get it. But it is a bummer just as once again on a consumer level. We can understand something from a business level and still say it's a bummer from a consumer level.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, that's pretty much it. How are you feeling? I know this is a tangent, but how are you feeling about that Doomsday, Avengers Doomsday, that they're rumoring like the X-Men is going to be introduced into that next Avengers movie and it's going to kind of be the on-ramp for X-Men introduced into the MCU in a big way, where it's going to be like, you don't care.
It's not that I don't care. It's they've been really wobbly with a lot of the films since Endgame. It's that
Yep.
kind of thing where you rushed to that conclusion. You could have probably drawn that out over like another 8 years, if we're being completely honest. Because it was a weird thing where every single movie had continuity tied to that. So for you rushing to get that all done, you've kind of written yourself into a corner where everybody that they've tried to replace, can't remember what the guy's name was. Kang, was it? Kang the
See, that's the thing. I've been totally out since
no
Endgame.
that like that's what I can't even like name it. Whatever it was, the whatever the guy's name was, and he's just fallen through. No one cares, so they're trying to do like, all right, we'll bring Robert Downey Jr. back because he has like he was the one who saved the live action movies to begin with, and we'll cast him as Doctor Doom. And it's just like this is it screams of desperation, and that's kind of why it bums me out with like if that is true that they're going to be bringing X-Men in with that, because it's like you're tying it to a project which feels like they should have had their own. They shouldn't need to be tagged along with anybody else. They shouldn't have to
Right.
be sweetened up in a lifeline deal, if that makes sense. Like they should have just been announced. Like, how are you giving the Fantastic Four their own like thing and not
Right.
them? Like that's criminal. Like I'm
Yeah.
sorry, like that's actually criminal.
I am in kind of a weird spot though, where I'm almost ready to get back into Marvel, where I've been totally out since Endgame, and so I have whatever 6 years of no Marvel, where I'm like, damn, I could really go for if y'all could create something interesting, something compelling to hook me in.
Oh, did you
I'm
not
down
watch
for
the
like
Tom Holland movies?
I've watched one or two of them. I didn't watch the last one.
Mm.
Um,
Because that's basically I
I
did that and Loki, and then was just like everything else that I began watching just turned it off within like the first 20 minutes. It was just like, ugh.
I watched was it Shang-Chi? I see, I don't even know. I watched it with someone, but like I haven't sat down to actively engage in a Marvel piece of
You
content
had a
unless I
phone
was
in
like,
your hand that whole time.
yeah. It's yeah, I could not for the longest time I could not have had any less interest. But now I'm kind of like,
No,
let's get
it's the thing of
some
like what we was talking about. You can't like tear someone down if they're excited for like Mario Kart. It's the same with like being excited that X Men are back. Like for me, it doesn't really do anything. But
yeah,
for somebody like you, where the X Men is a preferred group from that IP that you do want to see
yeah,
come back in a big way. Yeah,
absolutely. So hopefully something good happens there, and hopefully we can get a damn video game. That's what we're yearning for. It's been since X-Men Destiny, since we have gotten a freaking X-Men video game. Like, that is nuts, dude. 2011. It is 2025, 14 years since we've gotten a proper X-Men video game. You've got, that's why I played Midnight Suns, was to play with the damn X-Men characters. It's the only way I could engage with any X-Men character in a video game, other than like, some mobile bullshit, but a real video game. So,
well, you heard it here
come on,
first,
man.
folks. Mobile gamers aren't real gamers.
I'm tired. I'm tired, man. Come on, we need some X-Men video game content. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. This is Gaming Ramble. Share it with a buddy if you like it, subscribe it, do the things that
Hit all the
that
buttons, just
hit the
all of them at
buttons, please.
once
Don't break it, but try your best to 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 to
to drop your support.
hit hit the buttons. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you soon. Goodbye.
See you later.